Welcome back to the Blue Water Podcast, where we talk to people shaping the heart and the future of our community. I'm Kyle Jones.
And I'm Molly Boel. And today we're going to be speaking with somebody whose job impacts thousands of lives daily, and especially the local real estate market and the local economy.
That's right. He is the guy that's at the helm of our school system, making big decisions that affect our kids, our educators, parents, and has a ripple effect on our overall economy. Join me today in welcoming Superintendent Rick Myhre. All right. Well, thank you for coming in today, Rick. It's an honor to have you here. Kind of to get things started, tell us a little about you and what inspired you to take on this role as school superintendent. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, I'll give it a shot. I'll be honest with you. After the campaign was over, I was kind of hoping I was going to be able to stop talking about myself and focus on the job at hand and the kids. But no, a little bit about me. Born and raised here in Wakulla County. Parents were teachers, and so education was always the primary focus of my household. Spent some time in the military after college. Went into the military not to become a leader, just to be a soldier. But it was when I was in the Army that they started calling upon me to lead others. And when I got out of the Army, I used my GI Bill to get a master's in educational leadership and started moving up through the ranks of educational leadership. And here I am now as a superintendent. But I guess I'd say those two career pathways is both public service. I like to think of myself as just a servant of Christ. Servant of our community, and you go wherever you can, you do whatever you can do, and I've just been blessed to have an adult career in public service and education in the military.
Well, and Rick, even before you got into local public service, you were kind of a hometown hero. Even prior to that, you served in the Army. Now, you actually were. I mean, you were activated. You went.
Oh, I went.
You were in.
So I was teaching. I was an 8th grade teacher at Wakulla Middle School, and then enlisted after the death of my grandfather, specifically to be an infantryman, specifically during the Global War on Terror, specifically to go participate in active combat. I mean, I was very moved during that time, that Global War on Terror, and was very much wanting to be a part of bringing those who were attacking our country to justice firsthand. So I did get to go do that. 24 months of my life overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, right up close and personal with those that would harm our country. So it was an interesting time.
And when you're on the literal front lines, that puts everything else into perspective.
It's a different way of life. That's a different way of life.
So, and by the way, your parents were local heroes.
I would say they were heroes, yes.
As well. They were both involved in the school system when I was in the school system, and I just they were very influential. I think it would be safe to say thousands of people's lives in this community.
It makes it difficult to live up to. I mean, they are the heroes. Their impact in this community is certainly greater than what mine has been to this point. And it's one of those things to know that, like, you may never live up to that, and that's okay. I'm just, like I said, I do my best. You just, I am blessed to have a great family. They are phenomenal folks.
So are there any, growing up, I'll put you on the spot, are there any local, when you were in school here, any local teachers that you remember growing up when you were coming up through the school system that made an impact on you? So
my parents moved here to become teachers, right? They went to Florida State and they did their internships, and so we're not from here. My father's parents moved here in the 80s after he moved here, but we were sort of like, all my cousins lived somewhere else, and the other teachers that taught with my parents or that worked for my parents, that was my family. And so I would say, like, I felt raised by public education, not just at the schools when, they're teaching me Monday through Friday, but those are the folks that, were my parents' friends. And if I were to consider having any aunts or uncles, it was those folks. Yeah. And so it was, awesome. So many of them were just a big part of my family.
Yeah. And Molly's got to feel kind of neat for you today, because Mr. Myhre wasn't he your?
He was my principal.
Yeah, my first year as a principal is when you were a sixth grader.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that was fun. That was good times. I obviously didn't traumatize and ruin your life. You're doing great.
No,
you're fantastic.
You were
So
the best principal.
I don't know. I'll take adequate. I'll take not. Best is a big. That may be too big of a compliment.
Well,
I'll take that. But.
Everybody will have to hang on listening, because I think she's going. You put the pressure on her. I think she's going to hit you with some questions later on, and
That's fair.
To put some pressure on you later on. So be on guard. But I tell you what. So the purpose of the day. I want to keep it real with you today. This is an opportunity to talk about some of the tough stuff that you have to deal with on the surface. To parents like myself and so much of the community, we just have no idea what you have to deal with on a daily basis. Do you want to talk with us about some of the tough decisions, some of the challenging topics that you may be working on right now that we may not know about?
Well, and I think that maybe that's the toughest part about it, right? Is, everyone wants to, and we use the word transparency. They want to know things. And certainly I want to share all the time. And I may talk too much today. My staff sometimes teases me about talking too much, but I would love to share everything that we're doing. I think some of the tougher parts are because of some of the laws, you can't share things. There are things that are tough and that are real deal life-changing events for our students, and good work is done by so many staff members. Like I said, not me. This is not about me. This is about the work that's done by the Wakulla County School District. But you can't share those stories. Those are private. Kids go through some very difficult things, and our staff rises to that occasion, and you want to share, but it would sort of be alluding to things that aren't everybody's business. I wish I could share those things. But that's part of it, right? I mean, we share the successes that we can share, and we're happy to tell everybody all the great things that are going on. But there just are some things that you can't highlight. I don't mind ever talking about the difficult things. Like I said, I'm not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and when we have to talk about those, that's actually much easier, right? I mean, because you just have to apologize sometimes, and you can't get things right all the time. That part to me doesn't bother me. I know I think you got some questions about school safety. Safety is another issue, for me, like we just talked about in the military. You don't want to tell your enemy all of your plans and your capacities. Yeah. Right. And so, we've been working hard to make the schools safer, and there's things that I'd like to share about that, but there's just some things you aren't going to ever say into a microphone on camera, because then everybody knows.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm never going to say there aren't vulnerabilities. We go through an assessment every year to address our vulnerabilities, but I'm not going to share those with everybody. I mean, you don't want to go tell everybody, like, just go through that door. That's the one that doesn't work. Right. But there's things like that you want people to feel comfortable with. And I would say that very proud of our commitment to safety. Like I said, my former military experience, we've done a lot of things. And just the short amount of time I've been in charge of safety and been superintendent, there's more things that are upcoming here very shortly. And, we're getting them done as rapidly as possible. And I think you ask kids, ask parents, ask those that are around. Like I said, I don't know that I want to share all those things right here. But ask those around if you notice a difference. I think they'll say yes.
I know that a few years ago, I think there was a tragedy. There was at a school system somewhere in the nation. We're just coming off of the Florida State tragedy there. But a few years ago, I think Molly, I'd like for you to kind of share with us what you're seeing and observing. I know that was really big. On you, and I know the feedback that I'm hearing in the community is pretty remarkable about what you and your current administration has done in that area. Molly,
yeah, same. From an outsider looking in, it seems like it's been a really big focus. So I've noticed a difference for sure.
Yeah. And you want to snap your fingers and do things, but sometimes things take time, right? I mean, I'll share one thing with the community and those that haven't seen it. Most of us, a lot of us, some of us went to Wakulla High School, and in the front of Wakulla High School, there's sort of those two entrances that you come in. And so I made the decision, look, we're just locking one side and we're going to put the buzz-in door on the other side. that didn't happen the next day.
Right.
I mean, you make
Yeah.
that decision, you've got to order the parts, you've got to get it installed, you got to do the thing. So, I mean, we address things. And I think one of the challenging parts for me is I can't wave a magic wand.
Yeah.
You know, you have to, you know, as you make those decisions, you know, get them implemented as quickly as possible. But that one has been, you know, a tremendous game changer for Wakulla High School, that you can't just walk into the school.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, it's a single point of entry, and you're going to come and you're going to buzz in, you're going to advance to be recognized, and that has been a game changer. But you have to be willing to disrupt some folks and tell them that they can't do that anymore, and get people that are mad at you. But kids are safer because of it.
Well,
Period.
there's you know, you make two good points. You are limited on things that you can share depending on whether it's school safety, and there's probably a dozen other areas that you have to be super cautious. You just can't open
Tell everyone everything.
You just can't open up the playbook. But I will tell you those small decisions that you're making have a compound effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been real encouraged from the feedback that I've been hearing from the local community as a parent who has a child in the school system. It has really given me a sense of confidence, and I know you've taken on some of the, you know, the tough topics.
Well, we're not done. Like I said, it's that safety is one of the things that, you know, it keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you want to have the all A schools and those things, but at the end of my career as a superintendent, I'd be much prouder to say that no unsafe acts happened on campus. And so we were very focused on what's next. There will always be something next. I will tell you that for the next few years, we will never cease to improve, because we've got a list of things that we are going to accomplish.
Right.
So.
And I'll say, I think it's really easy for someone to sit on the sidelines and criticize, but after hearing everything you just said, I hope the people listening realize just the weight that's on your shoulders and all the tough decisions you're dealing with and your staff's dealing with. I think y'all are doing great.
Yeah, well, they are committed. I will tell you that. I mean, if anyone thinks that the school-based staff are not thinking about that, they are.
Right.
It is a real deal thing.
So I have a question for you. So you kind of to tag on to what Molly just said, you and I'm trying to think. I think I may have been guilty of this in the past, but you probably hear a lot more people criticizing than complimenting or encouraging or recognizing all of the positive changes. I think parents somehow, sometimes have a tendency to only point out the negatives.
I would say I think our parents are one of the best parts of our job. I mean, we live in a great place. This community is fantastic. Our parents are so supportive to our teachers and to our schools. They never stop giving. I don't look at negative comments or criticism. It's just feedback. I mean, you have to know we're a public service entity. I have my vision, what I think the kids deserve and what they should have and what we should accomplish. But you can't lose sight of the fact that we're here because everyone pays taxes and parents send their kids to us and they want a certain type and quality of product. And so, I think we get a little upset when we get, profanities used at us, right? I mean, I don't want to be spoken to in a certain way. I mean, there's got to be a certain level of decorum and respect, but I mean, disagreements are to be expected, right? I mean, I want to know how we can improve. I want to know what we could do better and how we can serve kids better in the eyes of parents. We just don't want to be cussed at.
I mean, and sometimes I think social media has emboldened people to go wild on social media with the criticisms. And really, from a community standpoint, that's not.
It's not who we are as a community.
Not,
I mean, it's like I like to joke about the bell curve of humanity, and you've got your best of the best, and you've got people that need some improvement in whatever area it is. And I'm at the bottom of the bell curve of certain things, right? But we have some people at the bell curve of decorum and respect for others, and you just wish that they could communicate because they're frustrated, right? They're frustrated. We try to remember that. And remind our staff that they're frustrated. They're coming through with a voice of frustration. But you can't be up in the front offices, cussing in front of other people's kids and doing things like that. I mean, those sort of things we just can't have, right? I mean, even if the school is wrong, that's not what we would hope for our community. But we see that very rarely.
Yeah.
Right. This is not. I won't name it other places. I was about to say some other places, and that wouldn't be nice. But there are other places in the country where that is maybe more the norm. For us, it's a random occasion, right? I wouldn't say that we experience that very frequently at all.
Yeah.
It does happen, unfortunately.
Well, circling back to what you just said a couple seconds ago about welcoming some constructive criticism stuff, I think that's super admirable quality to have as a leader, because not all leaders are like that. So I thought that was awesome.
Oh, I read the comments. I mean, we do the climate surveys. We wish parents would do more of them, and we read the comments. And it's like, I knew we were going to get that one. I knew that they don't like that, and you, like I said, you work to improve it. I mean, and because there's always going to be something. Like, you should never have a mindset that we're not here to improve or grow.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never settled, ever in my life, and I don't think I ever will be, because that's not what my vision of being a leader is. A leader is someone who is constantly seeking improvement for whatever entity they're blessed to be in charge of. So
Yeah. Well, that's so I know you've got a dozen things on more than that on your plate. Are there any other little small subtle things that you have been that you've done where you've seen some positive impact from it?
It is interesting being the superintendent. I've done pretty much every job in the school district, and if you allow yourself to be buried in the bureaucracy or the district office, it can bury you. And so one of the things that I do that I'm intentional about is visiting schools and visiting classrooms. And I was able to, there are a couple teachers were absent on some of the days I was at the schools, but I mean, well over 95, 96% of the classrooms last year visited the teachers, hundreds of hours in the schools just walking around. And so I do think those things, again, I'm out there amongst those that are on the front lines teaching our kids. I want to hear from our teachers. I want to watch the instruction in action, right? It's not just sitting at the district office in the White House and hearing things. You have to be boots on the ground. What they taught us in the military is a kind of a trick question. Where's the commander's place on the battlefield? Wherever he's best able to lead.
Wow.
And so, my place here, where should I be? Wherever I'm best capable of leading these schools. And many times that's in the classrooms themselves. So you have to see what's going on there.
Well, you said something, and I do think that you are on the battlefield. It's just a different battlefield
Right.
from when you were serving in our armed forces. But I think the future of our country and our community is in that school system.
Absolutely.
And so it really is a battlefield, and I think there is a war going on to take down the younger generation. And I just from watching your passion, watching how you approach, just you're what is the term? A servant leader. You're a servant leader. You're willing to get your hands dirty and get in. Didn't I see you walking around the school with a bulletproof vest on?
I'm one of our guardians. I mean, so at times I'm pulling security detail.
So you
that's one of my talents. So I don't mind doing that. We have other superintendents across the state. They'll drive a bus. I'm not certified to drive a bus. I should get there. Not afraid of a mop. Sometimes you'll clean that. But the principals do everything. I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, if we're gonna serve kids, you have to be willing to do all parts of the job whenever you're called to do it. And I try to be out there doing that as much as I can. It's the fun part. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
No one wants to be, and some of the other things, the bureaucracy of it, that part's not glamorous. When you make a movie about the military, it's generally about the guys on the front lines doing things.
Yeah.
When they if you make a movie about education, it's about the teachers and the kids.
Oh,
it's not, look at me, I'm making a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So, I got to make those sometimes, but that's not where the fun is. It's with the kids.
Well, when you go to the school, and I think that, I don't even remember what function it was. And there was a ton of people there. I don't even think most of the folks really put two and two together that we've got the superintendent here on security detail for this function at our school system. And I just think that speaks so much of your character and your willingness to serve.
So let's speak directly to the parents for a second. What's something you wish every parent in the community understood, maybe about their child, about the school system, or about what really matters?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know if it's ever one thing. It's all the things. And like I said, many of our parents, they are involved in all the things. What I would like our parents to just be reassured is that the content that we are teaching our kids is only the relevant content. There is no of the, indoctrinating stuff that you hear a lot about in other places. Like we're sticking to, the basics and teaching high quality instruction. And I would invite them to ask their kids as the school year starts, what did you do at school today? And again, hold us accountable. If your kid's saying I didn't do anything, let's press on that. I want every day to be a rigorous, fulfilling, meaningful day and experience for our children. And like I said, when I was in those classrooms, it is. I mean, every now and then, right? You're gonna have a teacher that's absent. Someone puts on a movie. It's Friday. It's pajama day. I mean, that should be few and far between, though. The majority of our days should be, and they are, pushing our kids to excel and teaching them things. And so, just be engaged in your kids' education and know what's going on there, because it means the world. Because again, like me being in the classrooms, I think sends the message that instruction matters to our whole school community. When parents ask their kids what's going on, kids see that instruction matters. Not just get an A or I'm going to put you on restrictions, but what did you learn today, right? I mean, what did you talk about in history? Like, what did you read? Like, what are you doing in math? I mean, let them explain it to you. Kids, when parents show an interest in their children, especially specific questions, they see that it's important to them. So,
That's I tell you, that is a great point.
Yeah.
And we do that as and I've got a rising 9th grader and a rising 5th grader, and everybody remembers reading to their kids before they go to school. But like in middle school, are we still doing that? In high school, are we still doing that? Or are you just like, all right, you're in high school, figure it out, buddy? Because it still matters. Like it still matters in the middle school and high school to stay engaged in what they're doing.
So there's a responsibility on your shoulders and the teacher's shoulders. But what you're saying is there's also responsibility on the parents and the guardians' shoulders as well.
And they're feeding them, keeping them closed. But I mean, you know, they watch you, right? Yeah. I mean, at some point, our children move away from do as I say, not what I do. They're going to do what you're doing, and so we need their assistance and continuing to, share the importance of finishing strong all the way through graduation. Attendance matters. We're on the other side of the pandemic. We did learn through the pandemic. There's a lot we learned during the pandemic, but we don't. I think we're past the days of pump your kid up with ibuprofen and stuff and send them. They're still sick and they're spreading whatever sort of little crud they've got. Yeah. I don't want anybody coming to school sick, but you need to come to school if you can come to school. Like there's a difference there. We've got an attendance issue, and so attendance does matter and it adds up. And like I said, it's our parents are phenomenal. We have a great community and just give us the feedback, right? Participate in our surveys. The teachers are there and they love on the kids, and it's so exciting when we see the parents at the events, at the concerts, at the open houses, at the things, and they do a lot of parent nights, and they want to see you out there. No one is afraid of those comments. I mean, I should say no one. I hope that they aren't. If they aren't, then we can help them improve.
I wish we could, going back the last couple minutes of what you just said, I hope that people should rewind that and listen to that again. There was so much in what you just said, encouraging the parents, but also let me ask you a question, and you alluded to this, but the fact that you're not running a school system where there's a political agenda. Mm-hmm. You're running a school system to teach our kids and to give them the highest quality, keep them safe, give them the highest quality education. Are you seeing across the country, a lot of school systems get caught up in all of that, don't they? The political agenda and I think that's where we're seeing a lot of the issues. So that's refreshing to me, right, to hear you hold the line on some of those issues.
Right. I mean, well, a lot of our governor deserves a lot of credit for that too, right? I mean, our curriculum and our tests are not designed to do that. And so when we just do what we're supposed to do, we see good outcomes. I mean, my focus is when we graduate a student, they're prepared for their next step. And when I was going to school, everybody was college, college, college. Our career academy is just phenomenal right now. And so we truly are preparing students for a relevant adult life. And some of those other things, they can go with those other sort of distractions if they want, but we were hyper focused on teaching them to read, ensuring that they can have the math skills to be successful as adult, and they learn a skill and they're prepared for the next stage. A lot of that other sort of, social culture war stuff, it just doesn't, Florida's not set up for that, and we certainly aren't going to be doing it, right? Yeah. We were hyper focused on graduation rates and certificates and sending kids to great universities and those sort of things. That is our focus for sure.
Yeah. Well, that is, like I said, as a parent, that's refreshing. And I know a lot of folks in our community, in my opinion, that's one of the things that makes our community what it is. Okay. So we got just one more thing I want you to talk about before Molly's going to give you some payback and put the pressure on you. But 5 years from now, let's if we were looking into a crystal ball 5 years into the future, what does a successful school district look like? What do you envision, over the next 5 or 10 years with our school system? So
we're going to absorb whatever growth comes our way. And I'm also attempting to, I guess I would call it, modernize the district. We have some historic schools that really aren't capable of serving as modern day schools. So we're moving in a different direction. We partnered with the city of Sopchoppy to transfer ownership of the historic Sopchoppy school. We're moving out of the historic Shaeville school that we call WEC. We've got special facilities funding to rebuild all the old portions of Wakulla High School. And we'll see what's next, right? I mean, our kids deserve to be in modern day 21st century cutting edge educational facilities. And that's my goal for them.
Well, by the way, the CTE building
exactly. That's
is amazing. If any of the community, if you've not paid attention to that or are aware of what you built there at the high school, behind the main high school building, it is phenomenal.
It's awesome.
The whole front half is going to be just as high quality. People will talk about a second high school. I'll share with the community. We don't need a second high school until we grow a lot larger than what we are, right? We've got 1,400 kids at the high school. If we were to split now, that's 2 700-student high schools. You wouldn't have the same capacity for all these extracurricular programs and advanced classes when you're that small. So we do need to keep the high school intact, rebuild the old portion. You want to establish processes and procedures that everybody knows. You want our way of work to be, not just it's there, but you want everyone to know it also and be able to talk about it. So we're investing more. We've got an app now. If you don't have our app, get our app.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so
how do we find that app?
It's on our new website. You can go right through there and get an app, and so you don't have to. You can still through the app it still posts to Facebook, but you don't have to have Facebook to follow us. You can see the feed on the app, and so it is increasing our ability to communicate with everybody over the next few years, so that our branding, we're going to do better about branding and sharing a consistent message so that everyone understands what's going on. But it is, not leaving our roots, but it's understanding that the modern way of customer service matters. Choice is coming. I don't mind choice. I don't mind competition. I've never minded. I love competition. The scholarship options for K-12 students, private school, homeschool, charter school. That's not. I don't mind any of that. My job is to create and lead the highest quality public school district that I can. So other people can choose their path. That's great. That's not my current mission. Like if someone wants to steal me away to run a private school district, maybe. But my heart is here in Wakulla as I was raised. But I don't mind those competitions. I embrace them. But my job is just be great at what we're doing, right? I mean, and that's that we want to have that fulfillment that we did a great job for kids in our schools, and that's happening. We received tremendous marks from the state. One of only, I think, a handful of districts that all the schools are A's or B's. 11th in the state. You'd have to drive, an hour and a half one way and 2 and something hours the other way to find a district that's better than us. This is the absolute best place to be. Around here. You
said, and you're cutting edge. You're taking us into the future, but we've been really blessed here. your predecessors have
Absolutely.
all been amazing. Had a heart. It wasn't just a job.
Oh, no,
absolutely.
your
For all of your successors. They all shared in the same passion. But I do feel like you are taking us into the future. You bring up competition. The reality is it's more competitive for our kids to make it in this day and age. So if it's more competitive for the kids to be successful, then we have to up our game within our school system to help them compete. Okay, so Molly, you're up. I want you to let's move to our lightning round before we close out. So you can explain the rules to Mr. Myhre.
Okay, so it's called the lightning round. Basically, I'll ask a question, and the first thing that comes to mind, you just answer it.
All right, this is kind of like, well, there's no points though. Like, what's that? The Family Feud?
No points.
Right.
Now she's going to try to trip you up though. That's what she's hoping
No,
for.
I'm not. Okay, so the first question is coffee or sweet tea?
Coffee.
What's your walk-up song if you were entering a baseball stadium?
Oh, Crazy Train.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. Favorite subject when you were in high school?
Math.
Who was your childhood hero growing up?
Davy Crockett.
If you weren't in education, what job would you be doing right now?
Well, I would like. Could I? I mean, first thing that comes to mind is I'd love to be a golfer. Anything in the golfing industry.
Okay.
I'll just be the cart guy. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to be on the tour, but just be on the golf course.
What was the first car you ever owned?
It was a 1986 Nissan pickup truck, and I wrecked it twice.
Oh, no.
Oh, really? You wrecked it twice.
It was not a good 16-year-old driver.
That's good. I think there's some 16-year-old kids out there that'll.
I bumped into some things.
Okay, so what's your go-to fast food guilty pleasure?
Man, one. I like them. I have to stay away from them all, but I guess through the years you can't beat a Big Mac.
A bit.
I haven't had a Big Mac, and have you had Taco Bell recently?
I love Taco Bell.
Taco
I love them all.
Bell.
I mean, it's hard.
How
I mean,
good Taco Bell was.
You know, you say fast food. I mean, that's across the way, but we've got the folks at Rockies and some of the other folks are some of our food trucks around here. It's hard not to stop at any of them. I like them all.
What's one word your closest friends would use to describe you?
I don't know, man. Something wouldn't be positive. It would be, I don't know. I may not want to say. I think that I'm competitive.
Tenacious.
I'm tenacious.
That's what
I think that they might, it would all be about my willingness to compete and jest about it. And I've lost plenty of things, right? You don't always, but you want to compete and you want to do well. So I don't know.
Well, that's great.
So we'll take that.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
That's the end of the lightning round.
Man,
That's the end of, you did great. You did good. Hey, so Rick, this has been eye-opening for us. Thank you for coming in today. I've always said it. I have said this to multiple people. I think you have the hardest job in the county.
That's hard.
I think you have the job that is just constantly under the microscope. The kids, the future of this county is under your influence and your direction. I'm encouraged that you're leading the charge, and I just appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your humility. I appreciate your leadership. I think you're a visionary as well, and I think we need that in the community. So, with that, Molly, do you have any closing thoughts or comments for Mr. Myhre?
Well, your heart for the kids, you're just able to see it. So thank you for that, and just thank you for what you're doing.
They're what we do it for. And the whole team does, right? I mean, I get to be here as a superintendent representing this, but in many ways, Kyle, like you said, I'm just the current person in the seat. There's been great ones before me, and the hope is there's great ones after me, right? As long as we continue to have superintendents that place the kids first, I don't think we can go wrong, because I just represent 700 other employees that have the biggest hearts in the world, right? And so you just try to keep up with them sometimes. I mean, they are just doing great things. And so, you give your best, because there's people out there that are giving their best daily, and we're getting ready to get them back. August 11th, they'll be here before you know it.
Yes.
So a few more weeks, parents, and we'll take them back from you.
Well, we want to, because of your job and what you do, and we mentioned it in our opener, not to put the pressure on you, but so much of what we do what you do, your success has a ripple effect on our success. Real estate being a perfect example. This community, what brings people into this community is a strong school system. That's what keeps a strong real estate market. And there's a dozen other ripple effects similar to that in other industries. So because of that, I'm hoping you'll agree to come back on with us in the future, and we can keep an ongoing dialogue with you. But this is a good note to end it on. This was fun. Thank you so much, Mr. Myhre.
Yep, enjoyed it.
And we look forward to staying engaged with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right.